Hello, Mustang fans, and welcome to another episode of the Mustang Owners Podcast. I'm your host, John Clore, along with my co-host, Mike Ray. You know, whether you know us from my time maybe at Auto Week Magazine or the Ford Special Vehicle Team or Ford Racing or Ford Performance, or you know Mike from his time with Team Mustang or maybe Roush or his time with Celine and now the Mustang Owners Club of Southeastern Michigan, we just want to know you through your Mustang story. And tonight, Mike, we want to share a story that's an insider thing that not everybody gets to go to, that everyone knows about this person that passed away and is a big person in Mustang history, but nobody gets to be on the inside of things. So the Mustang Owners Podcast wants to take our listeners and our viewers inside of something we get to do in the hobby that we feel honored, and that is we got to go to the Sperlich Memorial.
You know, it's always a huge honor, and we've got to play this role a lot of times. The Iacocca funeral, now Sperlick, and just many other occasions that, like you said, it's very intimate, very private, and they lean on us to be the support for it.
Well, Mike, I remember when Lee passed away. I know I was on the road, and I wasn't able to get up to the funeral parlor in time. I know you had stopped and you saw both Hal Sperlich and was it Gail Halderman was there?
I got to sit down on the couch in between Gail and Hal, and it's something that I will never forget. We must have sat there for 30 or 40 minutes and just talked Mustang and history, and I'll never forget that for the rest of my life.
Both those men who are now passed loved Lee Iacocca, and I was trying to get there. And I got there after you'd already left, but I know you were serving like the Mustang Club of America wanted a footprint, and since it was a Detroit event, they contacted you. Can you get a couple of Mustangs to deliver? Was it a flower bouquet or something from the MCA?
Yes, we posted it up right in front of all the Mustang display, whatever. And it was, it's a big flower arrangement from the MCA stating a big thing about Lee, and we had all the cars there in the background for it.
Well, this time, Mike, you know, the next person to fall. I mean, we did lose Gail. That was hard on all of us. But losing Hal Sperlich was very tough.
Yes.
We kept the relationship with Hal. You know, I've always wanted to get him on the podcast. You know, his health started to fail. He didn't want to appear on the podcast because he was a little frail. So he just kept in touch with us. Well, after his passing right after, I think it was on Inauguration Day this year, I got a message from his wife, Deanne, his widow, who said, John, you are on the list. Hal wanted you to come. He wanted you to be part of his celebration of life. She said, you know, Hal was such a control freak, Mike, that he wrote his own obituary.
Yeah.
Which is cool.
I can see that.
Well, yeah, I mean, you know, that's the kind of guy he was, detailed oriented, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, the insiders and the longtime Ford guys and deep Mustang guys know Hal Sperlich, but there's so many, I would say the majority of the Mustang enthusiasts and stuff may know the name, but do not know any background behind Hal. And as me and you always call him, you know, he's the godfather of the Mustang. So, I mean, let's touch on that.
Yeah, I mean, so here's the man who was the most genius product planner in a generation, maybe two generations.
Automotive history, basically, right?
Well, yeah, and I don't know, Mike, you can go back 100 years, and a lot of guys have made some great cars, but and people will invent a really nice design or a style of car, but I don't know another product planner, forget just Ford, anybody in anybody's car company, that actually created the idea behind market segments. There was no pony car before Hal Sperlich. It was his idea, not Lee Iacocca's. Lee wanted to do this car. He knew he didn't like what Ford had on the table, and it was Sperlich's idea to build this size and type of car. Eugene Bourdonnais couldn't get it done, and it wasn't until Sperlich, who was an engineer, got into, well, how can we build it for a good price and get it to sell? That was to put it on the Falcon. He locked himself in engineering. Mike, we've heard that story that Hal told 1,000 times. And then Lee Iacocca would have to figure out how to sell it, because in 1965, every Ford was brand new. There was no money for another car. We just got rid of the Edsel. The Edsel building was closed in, 62 when this car was being developed. And they didn't want another new car. And especially, Mike, this one thing with an Edsel is you're going to compete in the mid-price range. You know, the GM had what? They had Cadillac and Chevy, and Ford had Ford and Lincoln, and we only had Mercury in between there, but GM had Oldsmobile, Buick, and Pontiac. So the Etzel's a great idea, but it's not a new segment. But
Right.
the Mustang, the pony car, didn't exist.
Right.
And Lee was so blown away with this idea that he did go, and God bless him, was able to sell this car, and the rest, as they say, is history. But he was also later on in his career showing Mr. Ford a new idea where he thought there should be a garageable vans, because Ford had big giant vans, and he thought the station wagon wasn't suitable for someone that needed more room for people and things. So make you smaller than what we now know as the minivan. And when he showed it to Mr. Ford, he was ridiculed. How a stupid idea. The wagon king of the world was Ford. How stupid, Sperlich, are you? This is the dumbest idea ever. Get rid of it. And of course, when he was fired and for bringing the first front drive subcompact into Europe, which turned out to save Ford over there, another innovation, he brought a little while later Mr. Iacocca into Chrysler. And what did they do, Mike?
Yeah, they created the K car, right?
And the K car begot the minivan. And people at Ford said, "Oh, I hate Sperlich. He stole the minivan from us." No, he didn't.
Yeah.
He tried to get you to get it, and you didn't want it. So he and Iacocca knew it was a great idea. So they went someplace where they could build it. And by God, I don't think anybody ever really caught the Chrysler minivan. They were ahead of the game the whole time. And, we had Aerostar and Windstar and all the other stars, and just never, we didn't have doors on those.
Big miss, I think, by Ford on that. Yeah.
So Sperlich was a genius. He was just what a fantastic guy. Just to talk to him, I interviewed him for my book. If you go out and buy that Mustang 2015 book, there's a big long interview about the secret of Mustang, what he believes is the essence of the car. And when he passed, hole in my heart. But to get a call from Dion, and Dion said, she said, we want you to come. And I said immediately, I'm going to call Mike Ray. I'll come. But I think we should see if we can get Moxham to get some cars where's it going to be? Well, there's this beautiful church, Bloomfield Hills. It's the Kirk on the Hills, and it's stunning. But there was only room for like 25 or 30 cars there. And she said, "Oh, I don't think you'll ever get that many cars." Well, Mike, we put the call out. We got a little help from our friends in mid-Michigan. Did you talk to Jack Beeler or Tom Welsh or someone?
And Tom Welsh, yep. And always we work together on a lot of things, and
of course, the Caesars showed up with their King Cobra. We had one of every generation, and we filled that spot with over 30 Mustangs. And even Jack Telnack himself drove his Mustang convertible. Jim Farley was there, but to be there, they offered us some coffee. So let's take a look at some of the happenings. This little cool Mustang footprint at the Hal Sperlich Memorial this past May. Like here, you can see I was first nervous when I got there early. I said, boy, if we don't have everybody show up, I'm not going to be happy.
Yeah.
But here comes some Mustangs, and when they came up the row, I started feeling good. We were out about a half an hour before the service. The Carillon bells were playing. The Sperlichs arranged to have some coffee and donuts, and people coming to the church got to kick some tires. So the Mustang started parking. She wanted us right on the grass, right in front of the church entrance. Except Moxham has two very nice first-gen Mustangs. One is by the Arantes, and wasn't Joe Arante Sr., wasn't he one of the founding members of the club?
Yes, they were number 17. So there were 17 original members of the club, and yes, he was part of the original founding group.
Well, the car that you see here in the picture on the right, the car up on the stair, we brought him right up on the sidewalk in front of the church. The one on the right, is that Joe Arante Sr.'s car?
That was, yes, and then he passed away.
He bought that brand new. Is he original owner on that car?
He's the original owner of that car. I believe it has, I don't even want to get it wrong, but I want to say either 24 or 43,000 original miles on it. It's an original car. He worked at Ford, and he bought it brand new and has had it in his family his entire life.
And then, of course, we have the car on the left is another absolutely beautiful 65, and that's we call them the twins.
Yeah, the Auger brothers.
What are those? The Auger brothers. So the Augers brought their beautiful 65, so we put them nose to nose right there up on the church. And you couldn't, I mean, forget all the other Mustangs parked on the grass to surround the church that day, but you couldn't miss the 265 Mustangs, the dream of Hal Sperlich as he walked into this service, this memorial service, this spring. What a cool footprint that was.
What a great showing. Yes.
Well, you'll see there that there was a lot of people. There were designers. Bud McGaldy was there, who did the SN95. That's Jack Telnack. You see,
Yeah, I see
leaning
Telnack.
in and
Yeah.
saying hello. Of course, he did Thunderbird, but he also is known as the guy behind the Fox Body Mustang. As I said, Bud was there. John Coletti, who did the SN95 as well, program manager, SVT chief engineer. I mean, there was a lot of Ford dignitaries, and people were coming up and shaking hands, and you could see the Mustangs in the background. And it was just, yes, he did do a minivan, but we didn't have any minivans there, Mike. We just had Mustangs.
Yeah.
Of
Oh,
course,
there you are.
Ken Dabrowski, the guy there talking to me, he was a vice president at Ford, and we just had a wonderful podcast with Ken talking about his role in keeping Mustang a Mustang instead of a probe,
Yeah.
and putting together that Skunk Works. What a story he told for our Mustang Owners podcast listeners. And he was a very close friend of Sperlich. Mike, I learned, as you did during our podcast, that his first day he walks in and his boss is Hal Sperlich.
Yeah, that was good. Good, crazy story.
Of course, there's Tom Welsh with the hat on, our
Yeah.
friend from Mid-Michigan, the Mustang Club of Mid-Michigan, partners in crime on everything we do in Mustang. And, the Caesars, I wanted a second gen there. We had every generation. And sure enough, they had their King Cobra down there, Mike.
Cool. Very, very cool. Yeah, great couple there. And we've also had them on the podcast, I believe.
Yep. So here's just a sampling of some of the cars we put on the lawn. There, like I said, there's that King, and we had a brand new. I mean, we had everything from S650 all the way to the 65s on the sidewalk. What a great collection! These were like somebody came out. One of the Sperlich family members came out and said it looks like we dropped Skittles all over the grass, and all the different colors of Mustang. And what a way to honor Hal Sperlich.
Yeah, absolutely. Great presentation.
Here we go. Now you can see as we lined up on the grass, we went all the way back to the tent, and during the entrance, they did offer donuts and coffee, and people actually came up. People who would normally have just gone into the church, they walked along to see the Mustangs, and Mike, they were actually asking questions to some of the owners about their Mustang. Very cool that their family.
Yes, something they'll never forget.
Yeah, absolutely. There we go. Now you can tell that in the background, we actually along those boxwoods, we didn't get door to door, but we filled every spot we could. It got so bad, Mike, that when we got to the last spot, I just saw Jack Telnack pulling in with his brand new S550 convertible. I had to park him at a different spot. I mean, we took up every spot we could.
That's great. There they are.
Here we are with those 265s, the Augers cars there with the tail, and in front of the Orantes car. You had to pass through or pass these cars to get into the church for the Hal Sperlich Memorial. By the way, the keynote who delivered the eulogy, we had some wonderful family stories about Hal, but Ken Dabrowski was the man to talk about his Ford career. And I love that we had 2 red Mustangs there. Awesome.
Yeah.
Now you can't tell, but we had a couple of really rare pieces up there. The colors, some of the gold colors, the yellows, a couple of really great Mach 1s. Of course, everybody thought we'd have all red, but Mike, we really had a good mix, and
Yeah.
we have to thank Moxham and the members of the club who gave up that morning to come out and to be part of this, because it was a somber thing. Yes, he got into the church and listened, but to be part of this family thing was kind of, for me, an honor.
Yes, me too. Yeah, that's definitely always an honor when we're asked to do something to support something so great.
Of course, we were remiss if I did have to note that somebody had to put their convertible tops up. It did look a little cloudy, Mike, And we were a little bit nervous, but of course, after the ceremony, when we walked outside, the sun was out, and all the convertible tops of those who brought convertibles were able to put them down and do a beautiful parade out of the church lot.
Very cool. Great picture.
Now, so those are the members. Most of these are Moxa members or Mid-Michigan members that brought their cars. Deanne Sperlich wanted everybody up to take a picture in front of the church, and between the 265. So we said, let's get a group photo. She thanked everyone personally for bringing your Mustang. She said this wouldn't be right to have a Hal Sperlich Memorial without Mustangs there. And there she is. She was extremely happy and pleased, and mentioned that without this Mustang footprint, it just wouldn't have been right.
Yeah. Yeah, great turnout. What a shot that is.
I just loved it. It's just,
Yeah.
as sad as we are to lose that man, just to play a part of it, and the fact that here we find out that Dabrowski told us that Moxon played a role in the SN95. Now we have a role with both Lee Iacocca's passing and Hal Sperlick's passing. We can't say enough. If you are a Mustang person, Hal Sperlich, do your homework on that man. What an incredible talent, a generational talent. And we were blessed to know him. Mike, you were lucky enough to sit on the couch with him for a while. I was lucky enough to interview him for my book. We could share some stories, Mike. Let's do that on a future podcast of the kind of stuff that Hal Sperlich told us. It could come from Hal Sperlich.
Yeah, I want to say I met Hal maybe 6-7 times in my life, and they were all great opportunities.
Well, that was our salute to Hal Sperlich. I hope you enjoyed getting on the inside. There is a story on FordPerformance.com if you want to check that out as well. And, that's what we want to bring to you, not just, our fun in the hobby, but the fact that we're a family, Mike. Mustang families, they love each other, and the people at Ford that brought Mustang to bear on all of us, bless them, and bless you, Hal Sperlich, and thank you for that.
Yeah.
Well, folks, I hope you enjoyed that little episode of the Mustang Owner Podcast. Make sure that you click on the subscribe button, because we don't want you to miss any of the upcoming episodes. And if you're interested to help us out a little bit more, you can go on svtstore.com, pick up your Mustang Owners Podcast merch. They got some great stuff and great prices for you. It's really cool stuff. And if we see you at any event with Mustang Owners Podcast merch, you will win a free prize right on the spot. If you have any suggestions or comments that you can send to us, you can do it at clubhub@ford.com. So until next time, we'll just have to catch you down the road.